All right. We're live on Hangouts and Gun Channels. Just waiting for good old. Oh, I'm pissed at YouTube. But, well, all right. We are live on YouTube as well. So, welcome live from the crossroads of America. This is a 1 hour talk show about children with disabilities. We touch on politics and anything else that crosses our crazy minds. And if you got a question, just type it in the chat boxes or email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. As I've already said, we're broadcasting on gun channels and to YouTube. I have a Spreadshirt page. Just type in Rick's Life. My stuff should come up. What else? Oh, yes. Just a heads up to everybody. I've got YouTube issues. Last Wednesday's show, according to my video manager, is still processing. Because one of my things is the audio file was uploaded on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher within 24 hours. Well, I'm still waiting for it to process before I can upload it. You know?
Well, I got the notification today that your show from last week came up today. It says posted 6 days ago, but it didn't show up until today. So that's weird.
The video, the live stream that we did on Saturday is the same way. You know, if you didn't didn't get the notification and watch it that way, you can't find it on my channel unless you go into the creator studio and it says it's still processing.
Yeah, that's what mine's saying. It's still processing. You know? So I don't know what the hell. Plus, besides that, as I said earlier, the channels that I do subscribe to, the ones I want notification from, you know, for argument's sake, I like watching Never Enough Ammo. I don't know why I like watching that liberal, but I do. You know, I haven't had a notification from anybody in over almost 2 weeks now. So that's what's in my YouTube problems. But anyway, I'm carry on with my thing here. I want to welcome introduce my panel. Oh, who we got right now? We got Jason, Kingpin, and YouTube, David Bolin, which is Kingpin, on gun channels. It's a very light crowd tonight. I don't know where everybody is. But then again, if they're not getting notified, you know, that's why people are late coming, because they forget about it. So anyway, let me introduce who I got. We got Squib. How you doing, Squib? He's on the roof.
Yeah, I'm on the roof. Doing good. Just up here doing some maintenance on the HVAC. Thanks for the invite.
Yep. I actually met Squib in person at the NRA show. Anyway, next is Patriot in the Dark.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
How you doing? Hope everyone is doing well on this wonderful day.
Okay. Then we got the Kingpin himself. How you doing?
Hey, Rick. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Then the one and only Blind Shooter.
Hey, Rick. Thanks for having me. And screw you, Governor Cuomo. We're going to kick your ass in the Supreme Court.
I hope so. Okay. First off, I went there and I looked at a bunch of different guns. And what everybody told me is correct. The M&P 380 EZ is the gun that I think I'm going to get for my winter carry when my arthritis in my hands are absolutely killing me. I mean, that's correct. That slide was easy to pull back and everything. I like it, but I don't know how much. I got to look up the price for the difference. But the Performance Center one is sweet, and because it has the what's the word I'm looking for? It got cut out.
It's got the night sights. It's got the ported barrel, and it's got the lightning cuts in the slide.
Yes, it's sweet looking. But that's the one That's the one I want. So
yeah, that's the one I want as well.
Yeah. So overall, the actual NRA show, I thought it was overwhelming, and it was. I got a bunch of swag to give away to you guys, and I got two things: Rock Island I went up to them and I was talking to them because I got a Rock Island in 1911, and he gave me a bunch of goodies to give away. Not only that, he gave me his business card to email him to send me some other swag and some other stuff that, to do with my channel. I told him I ain't very big. He said, no, that's all right. He said, we might not do anything, but we might do. So I shot him off an email yesterday, reminding him that he spoke to me at the show, one of the thousands he's only spoke to. But that, and not only that, then the next thing was, this made me think of Wheelchair Warrior. I went to the booth that those actual wheelchairs are at. Man, they are in actual real life. They are fantastic. That's TSS equipment who make those. Mind you, they're $16,000-$17,000 a pop. But they can practically do anything. You can even stand up in them and still move along. So it was that. But anyway, she gave me her email address and I told her what I was doing. I used the Shooting with Disabilities podcast as my things, and she said, send us the stuff. We'll send you a bunch of stuff and everything else. So hopefully that'll work out too. And I can't remember her name. I went to Barry's Bullets because they're normally the ones I use when I do my reloading. And this young girl was talking to me, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I know I should have wrote it down, but she was a grandmaster shooter. She was only about 14 or 15 years old. But and Barry's Bullets sponsor, and everything else. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got some stuff off of them to give away too. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. But yes, the 380 is the gun to have. If anybody's looking for an easy, who has trouble, wrecking the slide because of arthritis or bad fingers or bad hands or damaged hands or whatever, that seems to be the one. So that's what I'm going for. And it was overall, and I met a lot of YouTube channels, Ghost, Clover, Gunpowder Beauty, Tardot. I'm trying to think. Even Jared from Guns and Gadgets. They were all there. Oh, Night Strike says I'm going to stick with my 45. I'm sticking with my 45 as long as I can, but when the arthritis, especially when it's cold and the arthritis kicks in my fingers, like now, because it was up to 80 degrees here today. Now it's pouring the rain, but my hands aren't too bad. But when the weather gets cold, my fingers is constant pain, and they're hard to move and everything else. So the 380 is the way to go. So that's what I was going to say. Night Strike made me lose my train of thought there. What was I talking about? God, I'm losing it. I really am. Oh yeah,
you were talking about all the people that you met.
Oh yeah, we met. There was a whole bunch there at the gun channels lunchtime where we done our. Everybody holds out their hand with the gun channels patch and the pictures taken. Yeah, even Squib was there, as I said earlier. In Ohio 45 ACP, he hung out with me most of the afternoon. I do appreciate that because I ain't the easiest guy to get along with. Mind you, I think
for those out there that are wondering what it's like to go to a convention with Rick, let me tell you, he just plows right through the crowd and makes a path. So, you're really valuable to have around.
Oh yeah, I had my scooter, so if you walked right behind me, it was a clear path. I just kept on going, and people would move out the way. But it was busy. It really was busy there. So, all right. Has anybody got anything they want to say before we go on to?
Did you find any other guns that were in competition with the EZ, or was the EZ the only one you checked out, or all the other ones?
No, I checked out. Oh hell, I checked out the one from Ruger. I checked out one from who was it? There was some. I'm trying to think of all the ones I checked out a bunch of 380s that were meant to have easy. The only gun I didn't check out was on the Glock stand because, as I said, I couldn't get the Glock. The booth was absolutely jam solid with Chuck Norris groupies.
No,
So
those weren't Chuck Norris groupies. Those were people trying to buy the next part to make their Glock an actual good gun.
yeah, but I know I checked out. Let's see, I checked out the Ruger. I checked out the oh god, the name slipped me. But I checked out about 4 or 5 different guns in the, they were meant to be easy to operate per se, but the slide on the 380 EZ was easy. It really was, and I was surprised. I checked out the Walter one as well, and but talking about, I checked out the totally different gun altogether. But I looked at the new what you call it gun, the new 22 Wrangler single action that they were introducing. They dropped the price to $179. It's a nice looking gun, but I don't like the smooth cylinder. I prefer having is the right word am I looking for? Fluted, where it has the indentations in the cylinder like a real gun, So I don't know, but that's
fluted is the term you're looking for.
Yeah, I thought it was. So, and what else happened? Oh, another thing I happened to be watching a Patriot in the Dark video the other day, and I never even know he had a first edition patch because I don't have one. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there while he was sitting here in the crowd. He's totally ignoring me.
Did you meet anybody that you got a chance to talk to about shooting with disabilities? Like, did you meet any other blind representatives or injured in some sort of way representatives or anything like that? Was there much crowd like that there?
No, there was a yeah. I mean, I said the place was packed. I didn't get to talk to many people like that. I said I talked to a few salesmen about my podcast shooting with disabilities, and any way they can help me and stuff. I said I got 2 that told me to email them, and there's they will get back to me. I haven't heard from them yet, but I don't expect to. It's only been a couple of days. I doubt they're even home yet. Where else? Who else? But that was about it. I met what's his name from the Second Amendment Foundation, Alan Gottlieb. Shook his hand. Talked to him for about 5 minutes on the great job he's doing. And he says they got 39 cases in the courts right now on Second Amendment stuff. So
yeah, I signed up for a membership while I was there, so I think it's kind of ironic that they were at the NRA show, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get a membership.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
The kid running the register knew what Gun Channels was because he saw my patch, and he goes, "Are you a Gun Channels guy?" And word get around. It's like I figured people would be like, "Who?"
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to change topics totally away from shooting with disabilities tonight. Unless somebody's got something urgent they want to bring up. No? Okay. What I want to talk about is the fiasco of the NRA. After hearing that Wayne got elected for another year, right now I'm disgusted. I don't know. My membership runs out in February. And right now, unless somebody can convince me otherwise, I'm thinking of letting it lapse because it really, really upsets me. All that stuff that was going on all weekend, nothing happened. Business as usual. So,
Well,
Squib, you want to start?
Yeah. So do you get the emails, or do you actually get the junk mail in the mail?
I get both.
Okay. Did you get that email today from Wayne LaPierre asking for $500?
No, I haven't got it yet.
Check your junk mail in your inbox there. It might have gone to your spam or something like that. He outright asked for $500. He's, oh, we're in trouble. We need your money. We'll take anything we can get. Blah 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 blah. This time it wasn't. We need your money in order to preserve your rights. It's like we, the NRA, are in big financial trouble, and we need your help. And I'm thinking, this is just like when a celebrity gets on there and talks about donating money to a charity that doesn't give all of the money to, or most of the money to, whatever it is because they're not required to. Okay, but this celebrity has enough money, has more money than any of us will ever see. It's like, Wayne LaPierre, I got an idea. Wayne, why don't you agree to work for the NRA for a year for free as a sign of good faith or something like that? I mean, there's just, so I was a little bit upset that but see, what I remember from the show was we came in that morning and everybody was saying, yeah, the board of directors voted LaPierre out. And then it was, hey, did you hear? Oliver North is not going to renew he's not going to be president after this term. He's just going to finish up his term, and then he's not going to do it again, just like what Pete Brownell did. And then the next day, we're hearing that the board of directors unanimously voted LaPierre in. And it's like, what the hell is going on? And then, people at the show were going, well, Monday's going to be interesting. And somebody goes, no, it won't be on Monday that we find out, because these guys still have to go back to Virginia and do this and do that and blah, blah. So we'll find out later in the week. Well, no, on Monday, stuff was already coming through. And I mean, a lot of stuff has moved fast, but it's Wednesday. And they're already asking for money, and this time they're being blatant about it, just saying it's to save the NRA, not to save the Second Amendment, but to save the NRA. Now, my thing is, I've said before, that's what these execs do. They wine and dine the people that contribute to them. They live a lavish lifestyle. They do this, they do that, blah 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 blah. So I get why some people are ticked off about what the NRA is doing with its money, or the fact that they're running like a business and not like a nonprofit. I get all that stuff. But as far as the NRA not really having the money, I'm sure that there's a way they can file bankruptcy, they can restructure. Like I said, if the board of directors and Wayne LaPierre and people like that said, we're willing to work for a year for free because, as a sign of good faith, something. There's a lot of things they could do, but the very first thing they do is they got right back on their soapbox and just started begging for money again. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm really not. I think they make great fiction, but it's almost like this was planned so that they would make their members so scared they would donate money to them and would get them out of the financial trouble they're in. You know what I mean? Like they staged it.
Yeah. Also, I was listening to a radio show. Was it last night or Monday night? I think it was last night. I can't remember now. But what they were saying was the PR company, which is Ackerman McQuaid or McQueen, whatever it is, actually put out that statement that he was reelected unanimously. Well, a bunch of board members were not happy with him, but what they're saying is nobody ran against him, so they didn't have to vote on it. He automatically got it. Then they come up with the statement, well, he won all unanimously.
Does anybody ever run against him?
I guess I don't think so. That's what I heard on the radio show. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Some people have got a lot of issues with what the NRA has been doing or what the NRA does, and I only have a few issues with what they've been doing or what they are doing right now. I just think that if the NRA wants to not only save itself, and they want to keep throwing parties and getting paid, okay, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to listen to their members a little bit more. They're going to have to restructure. They're going to have to do a lot of things. But I think in the end, every time they pull this scare tactic, as long as I can remember, when they pull this scare tactic, lots of people reach into their savings accounts and send money to the NRA. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually works and they're right back where they were in no time.
Oh yeah, but I don't know if you noticed there, but on the floor, wherever the NRA stuff was, I didn't see nothing. They seemed their booths were people, were there, and they, didn't seem to be distracted by them any.
No, it was all business. It was business as usual, like you said, and people were there to see the guns and other things and to get swag. That's what they were not there for, elections and meetings and point of order and BS award and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, one good thing, I don't know if he did. Trump actually done a tweet about the NRA and the trouble they're having. He said they need to get their house in order or something in his tweet. So.
Well, I would love to see this be the thing that causes the NRA to restructure, where they're still the political powerhouse that they are, that the politicians not only fear, but they're also able to find a way to keep rubbing elbows with the politicians, because if they lose their pull politically because they look weak, then they're no good to us. They play the dirty games that you and I don't want to play. They have a purpose in the community. I know some people don't believe that, but they do have a purpose in the community. On the other hand, I think they need to, even if you don't want to call it listening to their members more, they need to need to act like they're listening to us or something, because this is going to be really difficult. I mean, I imagine more people will want to leave the NRA now than even want to stay.
Yeah. Now, I also heard the actual members meeting, not the board meeting, the members meeting, that was 10 o'clock Saturday morning. They had it where they kept, somebody brought something up that they wanted answered. Somebody kept calling out for, what's the word for it? A motion to adjourn. They kept wanting to do a motion for adjourn, but they wouldn't have to talk about it. So they don't listen to the members. That's the problem.
Well, the thing is, if somebody thinks that this is the GOA's opportunity to jump up there and be the big dog, I don't have a problem with them taking the point in the fight on the national level for our rights, even though they do things differently and whatnot. But if the GOA is going to do that, they need to move fast. I mean, real fast. Because if the NRA does fall apart in the next few months, and the GOA doesn't step up, and I mean step up big time, then we're going to have some real problems. Despite the fact all these people, they sold us out, whatever. Okay, that's a whole nother argument about how to fight for the Second Amendment and who does what and how and blah 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 blah. But the whole point is that the NRA is the name everybody knows. Nobody knows who the GOA is. If the GOA is going to use this to become number one, the very first thing they need to do is make sure they're a household name. So, yeah. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't either. Real quick, if anybody's interested who wants to join the panel, I put the link on the Gun Channel's chat room. So if anybody wants to come in and join, they're more than welcome. I don't know if it would make it, say for argument's sake, with the New York thing going on now, and they strip them of their 501c whatever thing, or whatever happens, right? And the NRA sort of disappear or whatever. What's going to happen during that void until somebody else steps up?
Right, and that's going to be real painful for us.
And not only that, is the opposition or the anti-gunners are going to say, "Look, we told you we're going to tear down the NRA, and we did it."
Yep, and we are going to look weak in the eyes of our opponent. And anybody who knows anything about military strategy knows that's not a good thing.
Well, that's why I kept on saying, like, weeks and months leading up to the meeting, I told everyone, when you go, you're probably going to get thrown out, but stand up and call Chris and Wayne assholes and everything else under the rising sun to their face. Because that's the only
Well,
way
that's
they're
just it,
going to
though.
hear us.
You're not going to call them that to their face because they're not there. I mean, Dano might have got a picture with Bruce Wayne LaPierre one time out on the floor at the show, but they're not there. They're not out on the floor. Oliver North wasn't even in the building.
Wayne LaPierre was at the members meeting.
Was he?
Yeah, he actually walked on camera. The dude that was standing up behind the podium, conducting the meeting, the camera was on him, and you could see Wayne pass by him one time.
Now, I will say this. For those who say they don't deserve these big salaries, they don't this, they don't that, okay, let me put you in their position. Let me put you in the position where your face is all over all this stuff, all these billboards and all these magazines, where people don't like you, where politicians don't like you and your members don't like you, and just all this other stuff. I guarantee after a while, you're going to be like, yeah, I think I'll take that $1.5 million salary now. So, call it what you will, but whoever they get to replace him at some point, if they stay in business, and maybe part of their restructuring is they just start running it the way they really had been, and instead of trying to hide it as a nonprofit, running it as a business. I think it would stay. They would stay in power if they just decided to run it like a for-profit business. But if they ever replace him, whoever they replace him with, they're going to want as much as he got. If
he or Squib Robot.
Just a little.
It was probably you. He just dropped out, so it was probably him, I guess.
Yeah.
Talk to me, somebody. Is it me or Squib?
I think it's Squib because he dropped.
Hey.
Can you hear us, Rick?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, Rick was having.
But he talked to me.
Rick was having internet issues before the beginning of the show.
I was trying to say that whoever they replace LaPierre and Cox with at any given point, whether it be this year, next year, 10 years from now, they're going to want just as much money, if not more. They're going to want the same perks and benefits, if not more. So that's something we're going to have to get used to, whether they try to stay a nonprofit or whether they become a for-profit.
I don't think you have to get used to that. And maybe it's just me being naive and not knowing any better. But I don't think you have to accept the same old way, and that's how it is. I think that the members of the NRA and Gun Owners of America and us here on this panel should all use this as an opportunity and let that press be out there. And let every single CNN and MSNBC and New York Post and all of them write all the articles that they want and interview everybody that they want. And when they talk to them, all you got to say is, we wanted to show the world that corruption will not stand. We've had enough. We're sick of it. Yeah, okay, the NRA fell apart and it doesn't exist anymore. Yes, it does, because I'm standing here as the NRA, whether the names are on the building in Virginia or not. But what we won't do is we won't stand for the corruption anymore. Either you're going to do what you're hired to do and further the Second Amendment and the gun culture in this country, or you're out. And to sit back and just say that's how it is and that's how it's going to be, then we've given up. And that's how we got presidents that we've got. That's how we've got mayors and town councilmen and all this other corruption that's going on, is people sat back and said, there's nothing I can do. And that's always the way it's going to be. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I do agree. That's the way it is. I'm definitely not saying that's not the way it is. But we don't have to accept that as the way it is. And if you sit back, Blind Shooter, I mean, I'll go ahead and speak for him. He's not sitting back. I watch his videos, and he's fired up. And just about this NRA thing specifically, and politics in general. And he's not going to sit back. And if I'm out of line for saying it, you can correct me, Blind Shooter.
No, you're 100% right, man. I mean, we've
he
got
says get in their
gun
face
bills
and tell them this is bullcrap, and we're not going to take it anymore.
Okay, you respect the grassroots thing. You respect the poor man's Mr. Smith goes to Washington kind of thing. The people in Washington don't.
I don't care about what
dirty pool, though.
I care
but
about
those are the people that are taking away your rights.
No, I'm talking about the NRA specifically right here, and we can actually go back and talk, about the politics in Washington, but the NRA specifically, if the NRA specifically has leadership that is doing corrupt things, and every single member of the NRA or majority or however the bylaws are set up to actually force that person out or stop spending your money, withdraw from the thing and let it collapse. And when somebody says, what happened to the NRA, you can stand up and said, I stood up against the corruption. And I said that we're not going to have it anymore. You didn't take my NRA away. I showed you, Don Lemon, that corruption will not stand. And that's why your ratings are going to go down. Hey, New York Post, you want to write about how every single person that owns a gun is a danger to the community and a danger to the country? How come you're not selling any more papers? Because that's what's happening right now. People are standing up against this nonsense and saying it doesn't have to be this way. And you can see that there's been effect across the board.
I think that we're better off. We're better off with a corrupt NRA than no NRA.
We'll have to talk. I don't want to hijack Rich show.
I don't know. I think we need a Mr. Kingpin goes to Washington rather than a Mr. Smith or whoever.
You'll have to explain to me some other time why you accept corruption when you don't have to.
Well, real quick before we move on, just want to let people know that I got rain and thunderstorms here tonight. My internet keeps going in and out. So if I drop off, I'll try to get back. Just wanted to let people know that. All right, Night Strike. You join us. What's your say?
I had a chance. I missed my chance to rant last night because of family. So I am just appalled that it was unanimous with all the crap that was before the voting, with all the stuff that everyone speaking out. It was a unanimous election. I'm like, I bet it was unanimous. I bet a few people did not vote for LaPierre, but the fact is because no one was running against him, he didn't have any opposition.
Well, see, that's the thing. How do you run against?
But they call it unanimous, even though some of the board members, which I bet maybe one or two of them, maybe three, decided not to vote for LaPierre just to make a stand.
I heard
Parliament.
There was only 45 actual board members there.
And also,
so how could it be
normally with the Parliament?
Patriot?
Say that again.
I was just going to say, with the way the procedure is, the parliamentary or however you say it, I believe if you're unopposed, there isn't an official vote like that. They would just tell the treasurer, or the secretary, or somebody to place a vote.
Yeah, somebody.
I don't know exactly how that all works.
One vote, and that's how it's done.
Yeah, it's not. They wouldn't.
Rules.
They're not going to go through the whole rigor mortis, or not rigor mortis. That's pretty bad, but you know what I mean. Not the whole.
Yeah. No.
The rigmarole.
Kit and caboodle,
under Robert's
whatever
rules,
your little term is. Yeah.
Under Robert's rules, if there's nobody opposing, what they say is nobody opposing. The chair casts one vote, and the chair will go, "Yay," and that is passed. That's it. That's how it's done.
So it's just a perception thing after the fact, or
Yeah.
a press release that says it's unanimous. Well, if there's only one vote, of course it's going to be unanimous. But
yeah, but for those who just got into the NRA yesterday, how is this any different than the past 30 years? Really, how is it any different? It isn't.
So just sit back and don't do anything. That's good, right? Is that what you're supposed to do?
No, but
that's not what I said. But never mind.
No, sit back, don't do anything, and then put it all on the credit card, right, Scrib?
No.
Well, at least I have stuff strike. But the whole point being is this is the way it's always been, and you can quit the NRA, and it's not going to change a thing. And it almost seems like you can join the NRA or keep your membership, and it's not going to change a thing. What I'm talking about is the crooked things that have gone on within the NRA. I'm not talking about the illegal stuff. Let the lawyers and let the prosecutors deal with that. That's whatever. But the crooked things that's been going on since these guys got into power, since they took over the NRA, All right. Since they kicked what's his face out, I can't remember his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. Anyhow, so it's been like that.
You know what the big difference is, though? Over the past 30 years, now we actually talk like this. 30 years ago, you weren't sitting here talking to people all across the country.
That's right.
A lot of people here, and pushing that awareness will change things. You don't have to settle for something reading in an NRA magazine saying everything is great. They're fighting, send us money. Now you can actually get facts outside of that as well. So I think it's a lot different. You don't have to settle. If you want to settle, if you're good.
We need the NRA. You guys don't think we need the NRA, but we need the NRA in its current form or remodeled somehow. I would rather fix it. And some of the things you guys are saying need to be done to fix it won't fix it. It'll make it go away, or it'll make it so weak that they can't get anything done. So I'm not saying it has to be the same as it's been for the past 30 years if we fix it. But there's some things.
How do you fix it with LaPierre and Cox still in charge? How is that fixed? How do you fix it? I'd like to know, because I can't figure out a way with those two assholes at the top of the NRA how you can fix the NRA.
Anyway,
that's what I want to know
they're
too.
the ones calling the shots. How do you fix it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. How do you run against them? Like, what's the process? Because I'll gladly throw my hat in the ring. I don't give a shit who I piss off.
And hey, Rick, I don't know if you got that email yet.
I did.
And I did rely on my daughter for the answer. So if there are riches out there, don't sweat it. I wonder if you got that pink banjo I sent.
I'm all for trying to fix something, but when you've got those two individuals who basically have an iron fist on the NRA, how do you fix it without getting them to sign off on it? You can't.
Well, I think you might be able to with the board of directors. I mean, the buddy of mine that I was pushing to get on, Anthony Calandro, if you look at any of his videos on YouTube, he's politically incorrect and he doesn't give a shit who the fuck he pisses off out there. So he might be the only saving grace we have to try and, go rotor-rooter on Chris and LaPierre.
I mean, it's kind of evident if you watch that. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, Squib, I wasn't trying to yell at you. I was just trying to make a point that with those two individuals in charge with an iron fist on the organization, any sort of change has to have their write-off. And changing their minds to go about it differently is going to be harder than trying to get rid of than just letting the NRA, leave it to its own devices.
I'm not going to get my point across, so I don't even care. I don't even care if you guys burn it down. To hell with it. I don't care.
Well, I in the side chat, I put the answers to Patriot's quiz he's going to give out here shortly. So go for it.
Okay, but now this time, is the giveaway questions actually going to be the right answers?
It is, because I actually checked it. So hopefully Squib didn't fall off the roof again.
Well, he's left the chat.
I know. Hopefully he didn't fall off. But
I hope he comes back.
Since everybody is so hot on the topic of the NRA, my question is dealing with our firearm owner rights, right? So in the last couple of days, we've had 3 pro-gun judgments, right? Done by the Second Amendment Foundation, right? SAF, not NRA, the SAF. And there are 3 different rulings. And all I need is 2 of the 3 locations where it happened.
And what, in the last week?
Yeah. But it's the SAF has pushed push them through.
Okay,
So,
court cases?
yes, and you can find it on their website.
All right. I put the answers in the side chat, so nobody's answered it yet. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, you got the jump on. Nobody's been keeping an eye on what's going on, I guess. So anyway, back to what we're discussing. I don't know.
I got
yeah, go on.
Something, we're talking about having things change. I mean, if you watched the meeting, was it Saturday morning? The one that was on NRA TV or whatever, where they were pushing for, to oust LaPierre and Cox, and they were, going back and forth. You could kind of see just from the people in the room. Obviously I'm not there. I don't see any of that stuff anyway. But just the what was being said on the pro LaPierre Cox side. I mean, how do you go against that? I personally, I know a lot of firearm owners that feel that way because they don't pay attention to anything. So I just don't know how you go about pushing that awareness so that they see the sunshine,
I don't know either.
cleaning it up. I don't.
Did you see that one where someone got a skywriter text you right something along the lines of Wayne needs to resign above his hotel room window?
Yeah. Okay, Jason Stewart. Got it. New York and Wisconsin.
Yep.
But wait a second now. What one did the Second Amendment Foundation push in New York?
It's the where is that here?
It was the Ruger SP 101.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the one about the taking the handguns outside of the home in the city.
I thought that was an NRA one.
The Safe Travel Act, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got all three of them here. Let me send it to Rick.
I was gonna say because I heard of the one with to bring the handguns outside New York City. That one I knew about, but I thought that was an NRA thing.
But there was a state one. There's a New York. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me send it because otherwise it's just gonna be talking. You guys can't hear it.
Unknown user said Squib must have had a rage quit. I hope not. I hope he just lost his connection. Hope he comes back.
It's a very good possibility he lost his connection.
Yeah.
Probably connection, but if not, I totally angered Squib. So, score.
Oh.
Finally, I got him back. This whole NRA situation has everyone on either side.
I mean, the NRA has that term, that name, the NRA, right, has recognition.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the GOA doesn't have that kind of recognition.
No, but at the same time, because the GOA doesn't have that recognition, they also don't have that negative baggage that the NRA does.
Yeah, true. But it all goes back to what I was saying. Was it last week? I understand I understand where he's saying shall not be infringed, no compromise. But if you're going to lose, and you're going to lose, do you just let them shove it up you without Vaseline, or do you try to make some adjustments to it for it's a little easier with Vaseline?
I don't know, Rick. You have more experience with that than I do.
But you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you just say screw it let them do whatever ban they want to do, or do we try to ease the pain of what ban they're trying to do? So, okay,
That's a comment. I mean,
let me throw this out. So they're going to ban round magazines. Say it's a given. Say, what you're listening to, what you're hearing, the way the politics is going, the way the House is going to vote. You're not sure about the Senate. The president said he's going to sign it, right? So it's almost a 85, 90% sure that it's going to pass. We go ahead and say, no, shall not be infringed, no compromise, it's 30 rounds or nothing? Or do we say, well, let's try to get it a 20-round magazine?
It has to be 30 rounds or nothing, because because they can't give us nothing, because the Second Amendment says it says they can't do that.
But I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you in principle. I really do. But so you're not going to say it's not the 20, it's 30 round nothing. So the 30 rounds 30 round got banned totally. Boom, done. Where we could have had a 20 round, but now we're only stuck with 10s.
Well, that's the same argument with just like the NRA. It's burn them to the ground and have nothing, or fight and make it better.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there.
Well, look. I mean, compare it to a traffic ticket. When you get pulled over by a cop and they give you a 5-mile over speeding ticket with 2 points, you go to court, don't you? Or do you just accept the 2 points and whatever fine you get? No, of course you go to court so you can lessen the punishment that you're going to receive. So of course, if you know that you're going to lose, if it's pretty clear that they've got the votes to ban 30-round magazines, and you can get it in there, well, how about give us 20-round magazines? And they're like, all right, well, we'll concede to 20. That's a common sense fight, and you got to fight that fight, and you got to accept that loss and accept the fact that you got 20-round magazines at least.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is a lot of people are saying, no, that's wrong. That's compromise, and we shouldn't compromise. It's all or nothing.
Well, then they can.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Accept the 2 points on their license and the $150 fine. I'm just making up numbers. I don't really know.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I would go to court and I'd rather just pay the $150 and keep the 2 points off my license.
Well, you can't do that unless you go to court.
I know, but I guess I'll be a bad guy because I'm compromising.
No. But see, there's a difference. There's a big difference in compromise. A compromise is a specific thing where you both sat down and they took a little and you took a little, they gave a little and you gave a little, and you met somewhere in the middle. And it didn't really work out all that great for either one of you, but you're satisfied. What you're talking about, Rick, is I'm punching you in the face right now. Now I'll stop punching you in the face if you give me $10. Okay, if I can't punch you back in the face, I'm probably going to pull $10 out of my pocket and give it to you so you stop punching me in the face. That's not compromise. So there's a big difference in the words that are used, and words have meaning. Squib did a really good.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Speaking Squibbish about it, so if you're compromising and they say, all right, we want 30-round magazines, and you're like, hey, here, take 40. That's not a compromise. That's giving in. But if they're like, we want your 30-round magazines and we want everything below, nothing more than 10, be like, look, well, you're not getting that. You're going to fight and fight and fight with us. Give us 20 and we'll call it even, or we're going to keep fighting. And then you take the chance. Do they get all your magazines, or do you win? What's going to happen in court? And assuming in this scenario that we know that they've got the votes and they've got the judgments, then there go all your magazines except for the 10-round magazines.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So, oh well, there we go. It's never going to be an ending argument, I think. So, anybody else got anything else they want to say?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of interesting to see you and Kingpin get into a fight.
Me and Kingpin?
Yeah, he's talking about punching you in the face a second ago.
I'd give him the $10 stock because I'm an old man.
That's a butt kicking I wouldn't want to take.
So.
You
See how
we
big
have
his
anything we want
cats
to
are?
say? Squib, I'm sorry. Come back.
All right. If he's left and turned off, I will pass it on to him next time I talk to him or email him. So, you see John Z giving you a hard time in the chat there, Nice Rank?
Yeah, but you were talking about the whole Vaseline situation, and I've not lived in a restrictive state while being a gunner, so I don't understand how it feels, to take the Vaseline. That's why I was asking you, because you have prior experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to fight for what you can. I think you got to fight for what you can get. If you know you're going to live. I mean, Rhode Island right now, right, is you got a Democrat governor, you got a Democrat-led House, and you got a Democrat-led Senate of the state, and they want to do away with 30-round magazines. So so under the premises, it's all or nothing. No compromise. Okay, and they're going to have the votes to pass it. Do you try to say, well, how about letting us have 20 rounders? Now, is that wrong?
It is wrong.
So we just lose to 30, lose to 20, and just have stuck with 10.
I mean, if we're going to lose regardless either way, then yes.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would you say? I mean, why would you give up the 20 rounders if they're willing to compromise and meet you at 20? Why would you give up those 10 extra rounds? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Why not work it back up to 30?
Well, yeah, but then you're working from 10 to 30 instead of from 20 to 30. And when you're talking about scary ammunition and scary black rifles, 30 rounds from 10 is a lot to people who don't know no better. They think that's, you're ready to kill a football team if you got 30 rounds, where you're only killing a basketball team if you got 10 rounds.
What these idiots in office don't understand is, sometimes if you're using really good ammunition, the gun fires each and every time. But don't tell me none of you have ever gotten ammunition and put it in your rifles or handguns and never got one that just didn't fire.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would imagine anybody who shot a gun more than a few times has had a bad round.
And while it doesn't happen often, it happens often enough. Even if you're using a high capacity drum magazine, you'll probably get one or two that won't fire.
Well, you just made my argument for why we settle for 20-round magazines then, and not no 20s or 10 or 30s, just 10s. We're not saying roll over and give them what they want. We're saying when they're going to win, they've got the votes, that you've seen all kinds of different legislation come down before, and the guys on our side get creamed in the voting box or whatever it may be, and they're willing to say, all right, instead of giving you only 10-round magazines, we'll give you 30, or you're getting nothing, you're getting 10s. Look, I've got a whole rack of people over here ready to vote and do this, so you can either accept the 20 or we're coming all the way down to 10. If you don't accept the 20, I think you've just made a foolish move.
Well, according to an unknown user in the chat, if you compromise, you start down the path of death by 1,000 cuts. Right?
You get your head cut off.
It's just a way of taking baby steps to giving your opponent what they want. You see, make them take your rights. Don't surrender them a little at a time.
I mean, unknown user says that I'm making the gun grabber argument for them, and that's exactly the point. That's why I'm making that, is because Rick asked the question, is it better to get nothing or something? Now, ask yourself, do you want nothing or do you want something? The premise of this conversation is you get nothing. If either you meet me somewhere or we're taking it all. You've got $100 in your pocket and I'm going to take all of it, or I'm going to leave you with $10. Now, do you want to walk away with $10 in your pocket? You know, $10 that you can put back into getting that $80 back, or getting some more of that $80 back, or defending the 10 you still have, or do you want absolutely zero? That's the premise. I'm absolutely not trying to support the gun grabbers argument. That's not what I'm coming across as. I'm trying to have the conversation that Rick brought up, is do you take something or do you take nothing? And I say if you don't take something, then you're hurting yourself and you're making a foolish decision. You can either have nothing, you know, here's dinner, here's a big pizza. You can have the whole pizza or you can have none of it. What are you going to take? Now, you're not probably going to eat the whole pizza because you're not that hungry, but you are hungry enough to eat 3 or 4 slices. So do you just decide you're not going to have those 3 or 4 slices?
You're wrong. I can eat the whole pizza.
Well, I mean, okay, 2 pizzas. You got 2 pizzas.
All right. All
you
right.
got to answer the door to get
I
your
understand where you're
pizza.
coming from. I mean, it's just something I threw out there, you know, because I'm new to guns. I'm new to all this thing. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I'm just saying, if like up there in the Northeast, like Rhode Island, what's happening, you know? So we let them take the whole shebang, and don't say, "Well, we'll keep this." You know, we'll let you keep this. And we say, "No, we want the 30. If you don't give us the 30, just take it all." To me, that's cutting your nose off to spite your face.
But that's what a lot of people do. And they do it because they're naive and idealistic.
Well, it's also with the compromise. It's not, okay, we'll take your 30-round magazines and give you 20. That's not really a compromise because they're not really giving us anything. You're giving us something we probably already have, and we have more.
The compromise is, we're going to take all the magazines. Or you can have 10-rounders. What's your choice? Oh, well, no, we don't want you to take any. Okay, that's fine, but we're going to take all of them if you don't. And some people go, well, that's not acceptable. The thing is, there's a way to play that. And in some cases, you can fight it. You can stand there with shall not be infringed and win. And then there's other times you're going, all right, we'll take the 10-rounders so we don't lose everything. But there's a way to play that so you can come back later and get your 30s. And some people go, well, I don't want to do that. Well, of course you don't. What you want to do is sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix and let somebody else do the work. So as soon as we get a big win where we get a lot of rights back, where your state doesn't allow concealed carry and now suddenly there's concealed carry, or where they used to ban all magazines and now you can have magazines, or whatever it is, when we get these wins, what do the people in our community do all the time? They get complacent. And they don't get complacent for days or weeks or months. They get complacent for years. And we can push and push and push. And they're all like, oh, no, everything's fine. We got concealed carry last year, you know. And it's like, you know, I did that video on, if you get tired, take a break. Just don't take a break too long. Don't get too comfortable, and then you don't want to get back up off the couch.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I really do.
David, I sent you an email with an answer to your question. Hopefully it's not so long that it puts you to sleep. You might need to order 2 pizzas to eat because it'll take that long to.
I'm calling the pizza place right now.
Squib, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Squib.
What are you sorry about?
I didn't mean to, get you all hot and bothered earlier.
You didn't.
Okay, so you were just having a connection issue?
We lost you for a while. We wonder why you left. That's what we're saying. He thinks hope you didn't leave because you were pissed at us.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, you guys aren't entitled to an opinion. Just because I don't agree with you guys doesn't mean I hate you. There are people that if you're just 1 degree off, you're an enemy forever. And I'm not like that. We can have disagreements. I try to make my point. I try to make my point clear, and I don't always do a very good job at it. Just because I want you to know where I'm coming from. If you don't change your mind, I don't give 2 shits. Honestly, I really don't. Just like sometimes when you guys say stuff, sometimes I chew on it for a while and I think about it and think about it. I go, they got a point, and then maybe I'll change my mind. But there's other times it's like, nah, I get where you're coming from. What you're saying makes absolute total sense, but it ain't for me. Sorry, dude.
Hey, I got to call that guy at your job there. Just keep an eye out behind you so he doesn't push you off the roof. I kept looking over my shoulder because I thought
I thought there was somebody up here with me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, everybody hangs out there with the HVAC.
We
Well, they
found
do all
some
their
chicken
smoking.
bones up here one day, and we were wondering who was up here eating KFC.
Yeah, I've seen some plants growing in one before. One of the air makeups. The ones that got the door where you can walk inside it.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that could hit. Yeah.
Yeah, where they, you know, picking seeds and throwing. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, when we have our discussions, whether they get heated or not, or whether we really get nowhere, at least it gets out there. And I think that's what was it. Okay, was it Kingpin or Patriot said that 30 years ago we couldn't do this? You know, where I mean, people would have to call long distance or write letters. You didn't know anybody in another state who owned a gun unless they were a relative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was only the local guys, and you know, at your shop.
See, now, unknown user put out there, what if the defenders of the Alamo compromised?
You know, he has a point.
He does.
It
does.
wouldn't have changed Texas history.
He does
I don't
not.
know that it would have changed the history of Texas.
The correlation between being under attack by an actual army that's looking to kill you and a legislative process that's kind of a harsh.
Hold on, David. David, you brought up the pizzas too. You know, we have to investigate this. Okay,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you can explain
you
it
can
for
have
us,
the
I'll hear it.
Alamo and let half of our people live. Okay, or you can let us keep the Alamo and you can kill us all.
Right, but nobody's killing you over your 30-round magazine.
But you know,
there's not an army outside of your house waiting for your 30-round magazines. Not saying that will not happen.
Calling them for trespassing.
Well, they probably delivering all the pizzas I ordered you. But being able to have a legislative process. Plus, let's not forget the premise of this is a hypothetical question. It's not like any of us are supporting giving away our magazines or anything. I'm saying if you can have 10 or none, what do you take? You take 10. If you can have 8 billion or none, you take 8 billion. I'm saying it's either all or nothing. So I want to take something. Give me something out of it.
There are some times where these laws are being proposed and they've got so much support and they're so well written, or they've come at this so many times, they've gotten better and better and better at it, that everybody in our community gets on YouTube and they're like really scared of this one this time, right? Those are the ones where that sort of attitude is probably going to keep us from losing everything. And then what we do is we try to slip stuff in to get stuff back, or slip stuff in to be able to reverse it easier later, or slip stuff in that they're not thinking about, or have them write it in such a way that it doesn't affect us. Like, you can have your 30-round mags, except you can't have them on Sunday. And they're going, we got them on Sunday. And we're going, who cares? You know, we still got them 600 days of the week. And some people look at that and they throw a fit. But on bills that everybody is afraid are going to pass, that has saved our rights. When it's a bill that doesn't stand a chance of passing, yeah, come in there with everything going, shall not be infringed. Absolutely. And at some point, doing both things and coming at them from both angles, depending on how much support this legislation has, how bad it is, blah, 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 eventually, maybe they'll start listening to us. Eventually, maybe they'll be scared of us. Eventually, maybe there'll be 4 or 5 giant national level gun rights organizations that are all coming in to Congress at the same time, and they have nowhere to run, and they're like, okay, maybe we should just back off these guys. I know that's a lot of maybes. I'm not trying to live in fantasy land. There's a whole bunch of people out there that want to live in fantasy land, and I don't. But, I mean, we got to do something. And, you know, if you don't agree with me, fine. Like I said with the other stuff, don't agree with me. I don't care, but I'm explaining my point. And I think the way David explained it is much better than the way I've been trying to.
Yeah, I agree with you. But personally, myself, I think Second Amendment issues are going to be settled in the courts, not through the federal government. Did I lose everybody again?
Well, no, but
no.
There's also a problem that all of this really, really encompasses in one is people are not involved. look at your state roster. I believe it was Black Cat the other day had mentioned in one of the chats that only like 40% or something like that of the voting population voted in Pennsylvania during the last election cycle. When there's one fraction over here voting and one fraction over here voting, we think that we're the majority and we're not. They think they're the majority and they're not. There's a whole bunch of people in here that don't care or just don't know or are too busy to get involved. And that's where a lot of the grassroots stuff needs to come from, and do this, what G-Webs always calls this new media, what we're doing right here and talking about this and making it aware. And we got, 15 different people watching on YouTube. So that's 15 different people, once again, quoting G-Webs, that are in the conversation. 15 different people that can go out and talk to somebody else. Patriot brings it up all the time. Go out and talk to a real person and get these people involved. And when you start seeing 60% of people vote, 80% of people vote, obviously we're never going to get 100% of people vote because those numbers aren't realistic. But if we're just talking about the capable, not hindered in any way, voting age population, registered legal voters, the higher amount of people you can get involved in the system, the better it will work. And the harsh part about that is you may end up not winning. That's why you got to have your message behind you to show people that we're not lunatics. The gun is something very important to us. We all love the gun. We all love the ammunition because it's of its cool factor and all that other kind of stuff. All the important stuff about firearms is about freedom. Patriot talks about the Defend Liberty Project, the freedom that the Second Amendment brings, not just the gun, but the idea that I can defend myself against somebody if I have to, and we as a community can defend ourselves against the government when it goes the wrong way. That's what the system is built on. That's what it's all about. And we got to get people involved, whether they own guns or whether they don't. I apologize, Rick.
No, that's all right. That's all right. So, you're right. I mean, somebody's talking about Venezuela here. Was it MSS, whatever you call it? I can't think of the name of the channel now. The anti-gun channel that they slipped up and done a pro 2A thing. They were talking about Venezuela, and they were saying this is what happens when guns are confiscated. The people are fighting the army with rocks.
No, you're wrong. Your robot overlord will take your puny gun.
Was that MSNBC one?
Yeah, similar to that. They were, say this is what happens when you take people's guns away. The way that you see the army just running over those people with their car or whatever it was.
Wait, did I just hear robot overlords?
No, you're wrong. Your robot overlords will take your puny guns. Nice try. Your robot overlords.
Somebody's robot in here, or what you call it?
That's Patriot in the Dark with voiceover on his computer or his telephone.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Robot overlords will take our guns.
I've overrun 10 minutes here.
I have a feeling G-Webs is on the other side there.
I don't know if anybody's doing anything after me, but I'm getting hungry, and guess what? I'm having pizza.
You have all.
Are you having two pizzas?
I'm only having one.
See, this show was a premonition.
It always devolves into a food chat, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yeah, Midnight wasn't even here to help with it.
I know he wasn't.
Midnight's always here. He's in our.
He's in our stomachs. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to go there, and I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right.
So I said it.
We run over time. I know we can keep this going, but I'm not going to. It's I don't mind doing it on Saturdays, but on weeknight, I'm calling it quits. So let's run through the room here for shout outs and plugs. We'll start with Squib.
Yeah, everybody do what you feel is best or feel is right to defend your freedom. And even if we all come at it from a different angle, if we all have passion in what we do and we stick to it, we'll get there eventually. Gun control will never go away, and guns will never go away. We have to live with them wanting gun control, and they have to live with the fact that there's no way they can get rid of all the guns. So It's going to be a fight forever. If you think you can get to a certain point and just stop and it's all done, the war is over, you're fooling yourself. So just be in for the long haul.
Okay. Patriot in the dark.
I want pizza. Good night, you beauty humans.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. I was out for a bunch of your chat. Unfortunately, I had a couple business calls come in, and then they talk and talk and talk. But
you should have just hit the
yeah.
the button to make them go straight to voicemail.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work when I got my Bluetooth in. It's
Okay.
nuts. But
Well, you missed a good one.
Don't forget, tomorrow is Every Second Matters. So go do something. Get off your lazy butt. I'm talking to you, Night Strike. Go outside, get some fresh air, and talk about the Second Amendment. I have done a video for tomorrow. Don't tell nobody, but I recorded it early. But it has a request in there as well. And so take a girl, be it your daughter, niece, neighbor, wife, mom, whatever, to the range and take a female shooting because it's May.
Okay. Why you don't want to go? Do I pull out my gun and force her?
That would be frowned upon in the community.
But yeah, you might have to pay for the effects afterwards. That's kind of how that goes.
Real quick before we go on the next one. In case I got 5 entries so far, but my quiz that I set last Saturday, and I wasn't here this Saturday because I was the NRA. So you've gotten to this coming Saturday noontime. In the John Wayne movie Brannigan, which was made in 1975, what was the firearm that he had? It was his main firearm.
And it was not the knock gun.
So in Brannigan, what was the firearm that he had?
The Ruger SP-101.
It's prominent in the movie near the beginning when he first arrives in London. So
the 1911.
He doesn't give
that's an email question, by the way, guys. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com.
And the bonus question is, how long did he get to keep it?
Okay. Anyway, who did I just do? Night Strike. Shout outs or plugs?
Yeah. Don't miss Hit or Miss every Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock. There we go.
Okay.
Check out gun2.org. There we go. We're done.
All right. David the Kingpin Bowling.
Thanks for having me, Rick. Always a good conversation. Make sure everybody likes, shares, and subscribes to Rick, and check him out on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then about 11 p.m. Eastern, check out Roll Call and Night Strike over on Rants and Raves.
All right. Brian.
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me. Always appreciated. If you guys haven't already, or for anyone else that's watching, I got the giveaway going up tomorrow. Feel free to enter. I mean, come on. How many times do you get someone giving you 100 rounds of ammunition for free?
Oh, unknown user says, Squib, tell Squib we still like him even though he's an NRA weasel. Laughing.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, man, if they offered me 6 figures to do YouTube videos, I'm there.
Yeah. All right. I want to say thank you for everybody for showing up. I really do appreciate it. It was a pretty good conversation. It was. I said I wanted to bring up the NRA thing. I know it's not shooting with disabilities, but it was a major thing that happened this past weekend, and I just wanted to know everybody's feedback. So hopefully we'll be back on track next Wednesday with some stuff. I'm hoping I get a response from these people I sent emails to, whether they give me stuff to give away or, I don't know, give me some other stuff to talk about. I appreciate it. If you guys got any questions with shooting with disabilities, how we do it or what we do, or some question you want to ask that you're kind of afraid to ask a disabled person, email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com, and I will bring it up on the show. So that's it. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all for being here, and I will see you all on Saturday. Oh, and I want to apologize real quick that YouTube is screwing me in the sense that last Wednesday's show, I mean, because I always say I'll get the audio file up within 24 hours. Well, YouTube is still processing last Wednesday's. So I don't know what's happening, and I'm not getting notifications, and my notifications ain't going out. It's all messed up. So I don't know what's going on. But I want to say thank you all for being here, and I will talk to you on Saturday.